Lately, I've been dealing with the question as to what happens to us after we die. I think this is a way more complicated question than a straightforward answer. But this is kind of what I feel happens to us when we die. As a Christian, we believe that once we die, we go either to heaven based on the good things we've done, or we go to hell. But this concept of going to hell has been a little bit challenging for me because I think there's so much of guilt that comes with going to hell. Main reason being sometimes how we define good and bad changes based on so many aspects. And something that seems right for me could look completely different wrong to another person. And I think to solve this problem of figuring out right and wrong rather than from an individual perspective, there is always such beauty in figuring this out as a community. And once we come together as a community of people, we have way more options to look at and to understand what is good or bad. But also at this time, when we come together as a community, we should be willing to accept each other's differences. And in that same thought process, when we figure out what good and bad is, we also have the opportunity to see how as a community we live in our society. And if we seem to be aligning with with what Jesus told us, to love our neighbors as ourselves and to do good to each other, we would naturally be living a heavenly life on earth itself. But if that is something that we are struggling with, then we ourselves would find ourselves, even on our life on earth, will be feeling like that we are struggling, that we are living in hell because of the circumstances we are facing. So I believe that when we die, based on the good and the bad and how our society and community accepted us as individuals, will be how we are placed in heaven or hell. That is in the memory of the people who remember us after we have died. That way, in my perspective of understanding heaven and hell, or what happens to us after death, it gives this perspective of how other people have seen, and it's not a fact of how they accepted us, but how we made them feel when they were around us. If they were comfortable to be around us, then they would always feel that we are in heaven because of the relationship we had with them. But if we as individuals made it difficult for them to be around us, then they would easily put us to a position in hell. So, I think the concept of heaven and hell is based on our relationships with individuals and how we live in our community and how we are a part of our community. It is very important for us to live the life Jesus wanted us to live so that we could reach heaven